Aquarius workshop, be at home with your true self. I start with a quote from Pathwork Lecture 154 with the title Pulsation of Consciousness. And the quote is as follows. Home means your real innermost true self. He who is his real self is at home in the world, at home in life, safe and secure, with a firmly established ground under his feet. At home means the inner place where all problems find their solution, where no fear and hate exist. When fear exists, hate must exist and vice versa. They are really one and the same. At home is the inner place where eternal well-being and eternal life are reality, experienced as a fact. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 154. Humanity is lost from home. As long as we are not at home with the true self and block the life force, we do not realize that we are a unique divine manifestation with a valuable task, and we are alienated from ourselves. When we are estranged from ourselves, we have abandoned the true self, and that causes pain and suffering. In self-alienation, our attention is either hyperactively focused on the outside world or apathetically focused on ourselves. We daydream instead of being relaxed in the now. We live under the illusion that we are emotionally dependent on others and that they must love and care for us. We let the selfish, fearful, proud and self-willed lower self guide us instead of taking self-responsibility and leading the lower self. When we are at home with ourselves and act from the true self, then we are authentic, autonomous, and in unity with ourselves. Then we are an Aquariusman. We have no doubts and there is no confusion, unrest or tension. We have the courage to act independently of the rules and approval of the outside world, and to accept and forgive the temporary imperfection of our behavior. What someone else thinks is no reason for us to get out of balance. We do think it is important to take responsibility for the consequences of our actions, both for the consequences that others experience and for the consequences that we experience ourselves. In this workshop, we will explore with love and curiosity through 3 themes from the Pathwork Lectures, the way home to the peace of the true self. The first theme, letting go of the idealized self-image. The idealized self is a falsification and alienates us from the true self, blocking our self-development. If we are less able to conform to the tyranny of the idealized self-image, we become even more insecure, and the more insecure we are, the lower our self-confidence and the greater our self-centeredness. It is only when we see the truth that the idealized self-image does not give us happiness, pleasure, and security, but only harm, inner tension, self-hatred and self-rejection, that we can let go of the burden of this idealized self-image and come home to the true self. The next quote stems from Pathwork Lecture 83. If you have not found your real self, you cannot come home. You must be lost and remain lost until you do find the way into the center of your being. You can find your way home right here and right now, while you are still in the body. When you muster the courage of becoming your real self, even though it would seem to be much less than the idealized self, you will find out that it is much more. And then you will have the peace of being at home within yourself. Then will you find security. Then will you function as a whole human being. Then will you have eliminated the iron whip of a taskmaster whom it is impossible to obey. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 83. The second theme, going through the fear. Fear, pride and self-will are the basic aspects that resist truth and love, blocking contact with the true self and life force. We see fear as an enemy, when the real enemy is our misconception-based destructive thoughts and emotions. Acknowledging, allowing, accepting, and moving through fear dispels fear. Without a fear of losing face or losing control, there would be no pride and self-will, and we know that fear is completely unnecessary and that we are perfectly safe under all circumstances. The next quote stems from Pathwork Lecture 130. All that man's heart desires is immediately open when he has overcome fear. Nothing stands in the way when fear of the opposite has gone. When you realize this truth, it is the liberation your spirit has been waiting for. It is coming into your own. It is as though your spirit say, "Oh, that is the way it is. Why did I not see this wonderful simplicity before? Why did I plague myself with all this unnecessary hardship?" And you step out from your confinement. The world becomes your own. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 130. The third and last theme, finding your inner space. The guide invites us each time through prayer or meditation to focus on the inner space, the real vast world of the true home, by emptying ourselves. It is a difficult exercise because we are full of thoughts. We can find the inner space by fully knowing, understanding and accepting ourselves, and by cutting through the inner and outer imperfections so that they lose their thread, thereby healing the split between the outer and inner space and coming home. The last quote stems from Pathwork Lecture 256. Everything depends on this basic prerequisite of reaching autonomy, your ability to respect yourself and discover your values, your capacity for loving and finding the fulfillment you yearn for. You're fulfilling the spiritual task you have entered this earth for. Your experience of the living God within and around you. Your ability to be a true leader and to be a follower as well. And last but not least, your ability to let go of the mind and find the inner space, which is your real home and which alone can convey eternal life to you, and thus remove all fears from you forever. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 256. I wish you peace and all the best. Thank you.